This afternoon is building up to something very good and beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, we are under a very big tree. This tree is called Pseudospondius microcarpa. In Luganda, they call it Omuziru, and Banyakitara call it Bagambanimpata. Bagambanimpata, those are the local names. But why do we look at this tree? This tree here in Uect is termed as the elders tree. Who are the elders? The elders are the ones who are elders. That is how it is called. But it has got a very strong historic implication connected to the creation of Uec and the creation of Entebbe, and it is very connected to the Buganda kingdom. This tree has been here from way back before colonialism. Because this area here where you see Uganda Wildlife Education Center, the whole of this area, during the colonial times, before the colonialists came, it was used as a holding center or a migration holding center. A little bit off, like 5 kilometers from here, we have got rocks or koppies that stick out of the water that give Entebbe its name. That will be another story, and they are called Entebbe Zamugula. Entebbe Zamugula is where Entebbe municipality gets its name from. But Entebbe Zamugula being there, this tree is directly, and this area Uec is directly connected to Entebbe Zamugula purpose. Every time anything that would come into Buganda before colonialism used to come through this side of the lake, Entebbe Zamugula. So when you're at Entebbe Zamugula, you are able to see the whole line of the beach of Entebbe up to, I think, Kasenyi. When you're there, you're able to see anything landing on the lake. From the airport side up to around the Kasenyi landing site. All that area is visible when you're on top of it, on top of those rocks. So there would be sentries. These sentries were headed by a person called Mugula. Mugula was a Buganda chief who was like what you'd call the Migration Commissioner General of Buganda. So anybody who would come, they would bring them to a holding center here in Uec. You are not supposed to step on Bugandan land without the permission of the king. We have got a story, we have had stories, most of them have made them political. Ettaka lya Kabaka. Ettaka lya Kabaka teryali ttaka nti the land title or maira akenda or what people think about. Ettaka lya Kabaka was this land here. The king was the owner of the land of Buganda. So nobody would step on this land without the permission of the Kabaka, mainly coming from the water, because anybody would come on the water would be a foreigner. So they would carry you, bring here if it is late, like around this time or any time. They leave you in a holding center here. At the holding center, they would send an emissary or a messenger to the court of the king to tell the king that there is somebody who has come with ABCD. So if the king was willing to see you, they'd still carry you in a court, take you to the king's court. If the king was okay with you staying in Buganda, he would allow you, and in that case, you'd step on the land. Then there you'd awongolinya kutaka lya Kabaka. The king was the one who would grant permission for you to step on the land. And if the king refuses, you would be brought back this side. If you are part of the enemy, you'd be hanged on this tree. You'd be hanged on this tree, then Ensega would eat you. Ensega are vultures in Luganda. So this tree, Pseudospondius microcarpa, or the elders tree, or the Muziru in Luganda, or Bagambanimpata in Runyakitara, has been here for as long as we don't know when Buganda was there. And it is very good that Uganda Wildlife Education Center has conserved it and has stayed there for all this long. This is one of the oldest trees that I know in Entebbe. And if you visit Uganda Wildlife Education Center, kindly come and visit the elders tree. It is no longer a tree where they hang people. It is no longer a tree that has got a lot of lights and should be seen, but it is a tree, the mere fact that it is a tree that has stayed all those years, we can shed all the negativity around it of hanging foreigners who never wanted to abide by the rules of the kingdom and all those things, but it gives Entebbe its significance. Then it gives gives us the history and the evidence that trees can live for so long. And so take a note to visit. We also have what we call the Entebbe Independence Tree. It is not as old as this one. It might be older, but that is in the 1900s. This one is in the early 18s. It was existing. Thank you.